So finally, last question from my side. Probably one of the hot topic of the moment, because now let's talk about the sustainable aspect. Okay. One of the most important concepts is certainly the sustainable aspect. Has it influenced your choice to expand in some countries rather than others?
That's an interesting question. Everybody's talking
I told you
about...
it's not topic.
Sorry?
I told you it's not topic. So it's...
Everybody's speaking about sustainability, climate change mitigation, climate change adaptation, environmental finance. And people tend to forget that poverty alleviation and creation of suitable work, labor, and income is at the basis of sustainability. So I would say the first level sustainability goal always remains poverty alleviation and allowing people to develop out of poverty, provided these people have the ambition and the energy. So it's not social support, it's allowing entrepreneurial people to work themselves out of poverty. And that's the basis for sustainability. And now, in that sense, I would say micro sustainability is not the selection metrics for our activities, but it's the output of our activities at the first level. And then at the second level, when I speak about our business in conferences or forum, I'm often asked, are you financing climate change mitigation and adaptation? Do you have special programs for this? I say, no special programs. But our clients increasingly need financing for climate change adaptation because they're farmers and they see the problems of droughts. They see the problems of the needs for irrigation. They see the needs for using water in a reasonable and scarce manner. And so they design our adaptation finance programs by asking us to finance intelligent irrigation systems, or to finance new seeds which allow them to plant crops which are less vulnerable to climate change. Similar goes for climate change mitigation. Our clients increasingly ask us to finance for them solar panels on their rooftops because they don't want to bear the cost of energy. So in a nutshell, what we're doing, I think, contributes to sustainability from the outset, as it's poverty alleviating. We are not designing special programs for energy efficiency, renewable energy, or adaptation, but we react to the growing needs of our clients to do exactly that. So we are a sustainable financier reacting to our clients' demands for sustainable finance.
This is very interesting. You flip the point of view on the sustainability. That's really interesting. So, okay, Valentina, do you have any question from the listener of the webinar?
So yes, I got a few questions from the audience. So if you want, I can read it and then we can answer. So first question, Johannes, what are the default rates on your loans in these regions of the world? It's commonly believed that emerging markets equate to counterparty risk. Can you provide some data on this?
You mean on the credit default rate?
Yes.
The so-called portfolio at risk, more than 30 days. So loans which are in arrears with a payment or more payments for more than 30 days. In our companies, we have 11 companies at the moment, usually is not higher than 5%. In most of them, it's a bit lower than 5%. Occasionally, in one company, we might have outrunners with 8-9%. If there is a specific situation in the country, like we're strongly focused on agricultural lending, and if there's a drought somewhere, like we have it at the moment in Moldova, certain parts of the country, certain parts of the borrower clientele cannot repay. So this default rate, and it's not yet a default rate, it's just a risk rate, increases, and we have to do restructuring of some loans. The level of write-offs, so loans which we eventually have to write off, is less than 1%. This might be a bit astonishing to some, but microfinance actually is a very secure business model. Mainly, I would say, because our clients, first of all, of course, they want to repay, but also they know that if they don't repay, they have a few alternatives only where to go. So for them, retaining a good relation is very important. And then if we have problems with a repayment by a borrower, if we have collateral, and usually we have collateral, we would not be aggressive and sell the collateral, but we would rather allow the borrower to sell the collateral himself, because then he can better negotiate, he can get a higher price, he can repay the loan, he can keep the rest and start again. For us, a defaulting client is not necessarily a bad client. It can also be a troubled client. And if we jointly manage to get the troubled client out of trouble, we both make good business again in the future.
Thank you. That was very insightful. So let's see, we have a second question. When you identify a new country to develop your business in, how do you analyze the various risks and opportunities in that country?
Except for our focus on let's say, the bridge from Central Eastern Europe via Central Asia to Asia, which before this notion became politically a bit troubled, was called the Silk Road. Now it's a bit difficult. Except for that specific region, we are not looking so much at other regions per se, but we're rather opportunistically driven by finding the right combination of partners, of situations. And so our forthcoming move to Africa was long planned, but the actual design of that move, which I cannot give yet in detail because it's not underwritten yet, the actual design of that move is then based on a group of partners we found and whom we want to work with. It could have been partners in other African countries, but it is now partners in a certain group of African countries. But that was really a mixture of we want to go to Africa and we needed the right partners.
Thank you. And last question, is it true that Mikro Kapital manages the entire process from capital raising to loan disbursement and collateral definition?
Yes and no. You must think of Mikro Kapital Group as, on the basis, it's a securitization vehicle which owns the assets, owns the equity in these microfinance banks and leasing companies, and also provides some debt financing to them, to these companies, 11 companies all in all. At the same time, these companies also borrow on their local markets. So the balance sheet of these companies is composed of our equity, our debt, and external debt. They all follow a synergetic approach. They have similar policies. They learn from each other for what concerns lending decisions, collateral valuation. But it's not that my management team in Luxembourg decides on each and every loan or each and every collateral. These are 11 legally independent institutions who take their decisions based on very similar and mutual learning-based policies and procedures and standards. Our group control is inserted over these companies on the one hand by being the owner or the majority owner, which as a shareholder gives you certain rights, but also I and my colleagues sit on the boards, supervisory boards of these companies. So I sit on 4 supervisory boards, our chief risk officer sits on 3, and so forth. But in essence, these are legally independent companies who have in common that they have to take their own decisions, but these decisions on lending and collateral are taken according to common standards. And they are in a group, and so they benefit from each other's experiences. On the funding side, yes, we do it. We do it as well. So we have a sales network which reaches out to the market and issues bonds for us, or makes us issue bonds. And with these bonds, we refinance a significant chunk of our company's liability side. So it is all in one, but with differentiated roles. Thank God I'm not the boss of around 3,000 people. I'm just the boss of around 40 people, because I'm just the holding level.
Thank you. That was very interesting. Gianluca, would you like to add something more?
Well, for me, everything is fine. All these insights are really useful for our work as distributor. So I want to say a special thanks to Johannes for this conversation.
Special thanks to both of you for the opportunity.
So thank you again, Johannes and Gianluca, for your time and for your explanations. And thanks to all the attendees for the participation. You can join the platform for free and get access to all our content and research on microcredit and Mikro Kapital. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.